Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the OPI Spring 2024 OPI Your Way, My Way, Your Way, OPI Your Way collection. There are 12 regular OPI polishes here, and then there are also 9, oof, I don't drop them, 9 Infinite Shine polishes, which is wildly unnecessary, but they're here. So I have 21 polishes to show you all together. I also have some lengthy comparisons at the end of the video with my existing OPI collection, which is kind of extensive, so it's a long one. So buckle in, we're gonna be here for a while. So I got these from beyondpolish.com, so I will link that website down below, or you guys can check those out. I also have the coupon/affiliate code, which will be on the screen and in the description box. 21 polishes plus comparisons, so I will get into the swatches. So I hate most of the names of this collection. I think that they are so like washed up and cringy to say out loud and to type out, so as much as it hurts you, I promise it hurts me just as much. So the first polish is called Buttafly, and this is described as a soft yellow shimmer. So this one is sheer and it's a bit streaky on that first coat. A lot of those streaks are some pretty prominent ridges and some leftover gel that I have on my nails. Using a base coat definitely would have helped that. I don't use base coat for these videos, just one for time's sake, and then also because everyone uses a different base coat, so it's always going to apply a little differently over whatever base coat you choose. There is a very light soft shimmer to this that is definitely visible, but it's not a really obvious shimmer by any means. This built up okay in 3 coats, but it was definitely still a bit patchy in spots. So that is 3 coats of Buttafly. The next polish is called Verified, and this is described as a bright blue cream. I definitely think this is more of a periwinkle, and it's not bright at all, and the photos on the OPI website are showing it considerably darker than it is in person. The formula is really good on this one. I would say maybe a touch thin, but not bad. It's a little bit uneven on that first coat, but nothing terrible there either. This built up pretty well for me on the second coat. I really floated my brush to make sure that it went on evenly, because I thought some of those streaks might pop out through the second coat, but everything was nice and even and solid in 2. So that is 2 coats of Verified. The next polish is called Snatch'd Silver, which is not silver, but it is described as a silver sheer glitter. I'm swatching this as a topper over Verified for time's sake, but I will show it in 3 coats on its own as well. This is a clear base with a really dense iridescent glitter in it. It went on really smoothly, really evenly, no complaints. Iridescent glitter can be kind of thick sometimes, and this was not thick at all. I find that iridescent glitter tends to sit a little flatter than other glitters, but you still will want top coat to smooth this out, and it's not going to be the easiest to remove. So that is 1 coat of Snatch'd Silver as a topper and 3 coats on its own. The next polish is called Self-Made, but obviously with a $ instead of an S because it's way cooler and it's not like other S's. And this is described as a green cream. Cool, green cream. Good formula on this one as well. It's also just a little touch thin, but not too thin, and also just a little bit streaky, but again, not too streaky. It built up really well for me in 2 coats. I did really float that brush just to make sure that it covered completely, but I don't think that was entirely necessary, although it is good practice regardless. So that is 2 coats of Self-Made. The next polish is called Glazed N Amused, and this is described as a pearl pink sheer that can be layered over any color. I am layering this over Self-Made, but again, I will have a swatch of it on its own as well. I like this one. It's very even. It goes on very well. That pinky red shimmer stands out really nicely, and I like it a lot as a topper. There are some brush strokes because it is kind of a pearly finish, but those do kind of settle in for the most part after it dries. So that is Glazed N Amused, 1 coat as a topper and 3 coats on its own. The next polish is called Apricot AF, and I don't know who is working at OPI, but I am 34 years old, and this description is the most hello fellow kids BS I think I have ever heard. They don't even describe the color. Ready for this? The yassification of apricot. This creamy nail polish finish is bright AF. You know those days where you just like are one little nudge away from completely going over the edge? This is my nudge. So this is a very light peachy shade. It is also a little bit thin, but again, okay, just kind of on the thin side. Like the last couple of creams, it's also a little bit streaky on that first coat, but not terrible. The second coat built up okay for me, but it was still a bit patchy, and I might have been able to avoid that if I had been a little bit more careful to float the brush, but I think I was just feeling a little too confident in the polish. The third coat covered most of that up, but you could still pick out some patchiness if you really had to look for it. This also did dry a little bit darker than when it was wet. So that is 3 coats of Apricot AF. The next polish is called Glitterally Shimmer, and this is described as a sparkly yellow sheer topper. I am showing this topped over Apricot AF, but I also have a swatch of it on its own. This has a really good formula. It's very even. That gold shimmer, I wouldn't call it yellow, but that gold shimmer is very sparkly, and those slightly larger glitters are in there in a very nice amount. So they distribute really evenly, and I think it's a nice little scattering of chunkier glitter. So that is Glitterally Shimmer as a topper, and then also in 3 coats on its own. And I think this actually built up really nicely on its own. I liked this a lot in 3 coats. So the next polish is called Suga Cookie, and this is just described as a purple glitter. It is not glitter, and the swatches on the OPI website actually make this look very smooth and pearly, almost chrome-like, and I actually think they look a lot worse than it really does in person. This is sheer, but it is even. It's very sparkly. The formula is really good. I think it's even enough that you could use it as a topper. I wanted to swatch it on its own because it has like that purpley tinted base to it. I just felt like it should stand alone, but this could easily be used as a topper as well. That color and coverage built up pretty nicely in 3 coats. Still very sparkly with just the tiniest bit of nail line showing if you really looked for it. So that is 3 coats of Suga Cookie. The next polish is called Glitter, and this is described as an apricot sheer. This is again sheer but even. I think you could top certain colors with this. I'm not sure that this would be a good candidate to top any color with, but it could definitely be used as a topper because it is very even. Formula feels good. It's nice and sparkly, and there are no brush strokes or anything through that shimmer. It does start to build up pretty nicely in color and coverage. It covered almost completely for me in 3 coats, but not entirely. If I looked really closely, I could see my nail line, but that's getting very nitpicky. So that is 3 coats of glitter. The next polish is called Spice Up Your Life, and this is described as a rich caramel cream. So this is a fantastic formula. Where I talked about some of the other shades being a little bit on the thin side, this one was absolutely perfect, like that buttery, smooth, kind of applies itself, self-leveling kind of formula. Very nicely opaque on the first coat. Not entirely opaque, but almost there. This did cover completely for me in 2 coats and also dries just a little bit darker than it is when it's wet. So that is 2 coats of Spice Up Your Life. The next polish is called Material Gworl. I don't know if that's supposed to have a different pronunciation. I'm just going to say Material Girl because I can only take so much. And this is described as a dark brown cream. I would definitely consider this more in medium territory, and it is a very warm red kind of brown. It has that same fantastic, smooth, self-leveling formula that Spice Up Your Life has, and it built up completely for me in 2 coats. Again, dries a little bit darker than when it's wet. So that is 2 coats of Material Girl. And the last polish for the normal line is Without a Pout. This is described as a hot pink cream. However, they spelled hot H-A-W-T because it's 2007. This has that same really good, like perfect consistency, applies very easily formula. It self-levels, a little bit patchy on the first coat, but that's not even a complaint. That's like normal first coat performance. It evened out and covered completely in 2 coats, and again, dried just a little bit darker. So that is 2 coats of Without a Pout. So moving on to the 9 wildly unnecessary infinite shine shades that also came out with this collection. This is Bleached Brows. This is described as a shiny beige cream. The formula on this one felt okay. It wasn't too thick or too thin. It applied fairly easily, but it was a little bit patchy on that first coat. You can definitely blame my nails for some of that too. It covered surprisingly well on that second coat for how it looked on the first. There were some very minor flaws that came out after it was fully dry, but I don't think that it was worth doing a 3rd coat. But I do think you need a very light hand on that second coat. I would not be surprised to hear that someone needed 3. So that is 2 coats of Bleached Brows. The next polish is called Bubblegum Glaze, and this is described as a shimmery bubblegum pink glaze. It definitely mentions in here using it as a topper. I didn't do it that way. I don't know, this just having such a distinct color on its own just made it not even on my radar as a topper. It was sheer, kind of frosty, pearl-like, but not like super full of brush strokes or anything. It was fairly even on that first coat. I actually think it was a little less even after I got that second coat on top, but it did cover completely, almost completely in 3. You could still see a little bit of nail line. So that is 3 coats of Bubblegum Glaze. The next polish is called Basic Baddie, and this is described as a creamy tan. This is a little bit thin again, but totally manageable. It was also a little bit streaky. Again, that's probably a lot my own nails, but the formula being a little bit thinner made those ridges stand out easier. Like Bleached Brows, I was actually very surprised to see that this covered completely for me in 2 coats. After seeing the first coat, I was expecting to need a third. That being said, I do think this was kind of right on the edge of needing a third coat. I could even see needing 3 for myself on a different day. So that is 2 coats of basic Baddie. The next polish is called First Class Tix, and this is described as a turquoise cream. This is very bright, very opaque, really good formula, just a couple uneven spots, but very close to 1 coat. This covered easily for me in 2 coats, and again, it dried just a little bit darker than it was when it was wet. So that is 2 coats of First Class Tix. The next polish is called Pearlcore, and this is described as a shiny pearl sheer. And I am showing this as a topper over First Class Tix, but I also have a swatch of it on its own. So this has a very good formula. It's very even. You get a lot of that base color out from underneath it. Sometimes with pearly toppers like this, I get a little nervous that they're going to cloud that base color too much, but that is not an issue with this one. There are brush strokes through it, but they're fairly minor. And this also has a really neat like green to pink shifting shimmer in it as well. So that is 1 coat of Pearlcore as a topper and 3 coats on its own. The next polish is called Get in Lime, and this is described as a Cyber Lime Cream. The formula feels pretty good on this one. Again, it is a little bit thin, so it's showing those ridges and flaws in my nail a little bit more than a thicker formula would. And like I said earlier, a ridge filling base coat would help that a bit. I also have some leftover gel stuck to my nails that I'm just over trying to get off. That's about half grown out, and this is the first polish in this collection that I felt like I could really see that through the polish. It did take 3 coats for this to cover everything completely, but it was nice and solid after 3 coats. So that is 3 coats of Get in Lime. The next polish is called 24 Carats, and this is described as a shiny, bright orange cream. I don't know about bright, but good formula on this one. It is decently opaque. It was just a little bit uneven on that first coat, and being a little bit of a thinner formula definitely contributes to that, but I don't think it's too thin. It was still a little bit patchy on that second coat. It didn't translate super well to the camera, but I could really see it in person, and then after it fully dried, you could see it even more. So it did take 3 coats to cover completely, and like most of the creams here, this dried a little bit darker than when it was wet. So that is 3 coats of 24 Carats. The next polish is called On Another Level, and this is described as an electric pink cream. Good formula on this one, decently opaque, just a little bit uneven on that first coat, but well within the realm of normal. I kind of forgot here on the second coat that I needed to be floating this brush a little bit more just as a precaution with these polishes, so I feel like I dug into it a little bit too much and created a little bit of streaking that didn't need to be there. That was covered completely for me in 3 coats, but I think it could be 2 or 3 just depending on your application, and this also dries a little bit darker than when it's wet. So that is 3 coats of On Another Level. And the last polish is called Glitter Mogul, and this is described as a glittery sheer topper. And they also used another $sign in place of an S in the description here. So I'm showing this as a topper over On Another Level. This is very nice and very sparkly, even, makes a great topper. It has a really nice strong gold shimmer to it, and no brush strokes through that shimmer either because it's a more sparkly broken up shimmer. So that is Glitter Mogul as a topper, and then also in 3 coats on its own. I actually really like how this one built up on its own as well. So anyway, let's get into some comparisons. Okay, so for comparisons, I have so many, so I'm not sure how long this is going to take to get through. Hopefully it's quick. I might end up talking too fast. I can't even say it. I hate the names of this collection. Suga Cookie is the only one that I really didn't have anything super close to. I probably would have if I had thought of this more as a topper than a standalone polish, but I didn't have anything that I found that was worth comparing to this one. I also think I may have pushed the limits a little bit about what I could fit on the screen here. I think I should have probably split this up into 2. I already spent the last 3 days completely redoing these swatches because I got really like mixed up and I messed them up really badly the first time, like unusable. I actually had to just start over, and this took a really long time. So I wasn't gonna do it again. So for Buttafly here, which is around, I've got the names on the screen. This is Meet a Boy, Cute as Can Be, really close to Buttafly. This is a little bit more pastel, a little bit lighter. It doesn't have that shimmer. None of these have the shimmer that Buttafly has in it, but I didn't have any yellows from OPI that had shimmer. I tried not to take that into consideration because it is a very subtle shimmer. Other than the shimmer, these are very close. Meet a Boy, Cute as Can Be is just a little bit lighter. This one is Towel Me About It. This one is similar, but also comes off a little bit brighter and less pastel. This is One Chic Chick, which is like really like kind of dusty and grungy looking next to this. I would have never have thought of this polish as dusty and grungy looking if I hadn't stuck it next to Buttafly, but a little bit darker, a little bit grungier. This is Blinded by the Ring Light. Again, a little bit darker and almost has like a little splash of orange in it. This is Behind the Scenes. This is considerably darker and leaning more towards a like true sunshiny yellow almost. And then this last one is I Just Can't Copacabana. This is a very true sunshine yellow, much brighter. So I think these two are probably the closest, but still not exactly the same. Here we have Verified, which is this kind of periwinkle shade. This is I Believe in Manicures. This comes out much more of a kind of Tiffany blue, I guess. I think it came out in the Breakfast at Tiffany's collection, so I feel like I'm just kind of cheating using that descriptor, but that is what it is. It's a little bit more of that slight aqua blue shade, where this is much more periwinkle. This is Gelato on My Mind. Also comes off a little bit dustier and more into that kind of baby blue territory. This one is The Eyes Have It. This is close. This is just a touch more blue versus Verified being a little bit more purple, but they are pretty close. Then I wanted to throw some purples in here as well, just for reference. This is Polywana Lacquer. Obviously Verified looks very blue next to that, and this is Rumpelswiggen, again, very purple next to Verified. Okay, I still don't know if this black background is doing more harm than it's doing good, but this is Snatch'd Silver. Here I have Make Light of the Situation. This one is a bit more sparkly and has just different chunks in it. It's not like fully iridescent like Snatch'd Silver is. This one is Robots Are Forever. This is also a very like light white silver, not really iridescent. The chunkiness is pretty much the same, but this also has a more milky base, so it doesn't go over things, especially dark colors, quite as well. And then this is Chillin' with Kindness, which is a very similar look to it as far as the shimmer goes. I don't know if it's gonna pick up well, but it's a much smoother and less chunky, and also has a more opaque base. It's more of a standalone polish. Here are those over the white background. Really hard to see, at least in the viewfinder. And then here they all are over black. So you can see Make Light of the Situation. Actually, it seems like a pretty decent topper. Really cool looking shimmer there. Robots Are Forever, and then Chillin' with Kindness. And you can kind of see what I mean here about like the shimmer itself, the shiftiness and the color is pretty much exactly the same, but it's much chunkier here in Snatch'd Silver. Okay, so for Self-Made, oh, there's cat hair on that. Oh, that's a permanent addition, so never mind. This is Can I Biro This Shade? This is almost mintier versus, I don't know what I would describe Verified as, but this is definitely has like a more minty, more blue tone to it. This is Closer Than You Might Bellum. This is also more blue and darker. This one is Was It All Just a Dream? Again, kind of like that minty aqua shade, not this like dusty green. This is Prepare for Summer. This is a much lighter like pastel minty green. Again, I mean, I guess I can't describe both of these as minty, but I kind of do, because like there's minty blue green and then there's very minty green. Again, Self-Made. This is Mermaid's Tears. This is actually the closest. It does have a little bit of a dustier quality to it and maybe just like a drippity drop more blue, but they're pretty close. I wouldn't call them like exact duplicates of each other, but they're close. And then this one is That's Hilarious. Again, it's that very light kind of grass, new growth grass green, a little bit minty, so nothing super close there. This is Glazed N Amused. This is kind of a difficult comparison to make because it is white on a white background on a white swatch wheel. I'll try putting this on this black background, but it's like really, really dirty, so excuse that. We'll try this. I think this will show a little bit better. So this is Chiffon My Mind. It does not have that strong red shimmer, which if I tip this, you can kind of see it, that Glazed and Amused has. So this is a lighter silvery shimmer, and it's a more opaque kind of standalone polish, not really meant to be put over top of other things. This is Oh My Majesty. This, I don't know if this has always been this kind of like off-white shade or if my bottle's just old. I guess everybody's bottle will be old, but this also came off like a little bit off-white, and the shimmer in this is more of like a orange gold, not really super comparable there. And then just for funsies, since Glazed N Amused is meant to be like a glazed topper, I wanted to put them over black, and then you can really see how much these are not meant to be put over other colors, or at least over a darker color. They have a more like opaque milky base to them, and they look really freaking gross. So Glazed N Amused looks fantastic, very shiny pink red, shimmery, really smooth with no brush strokes, and then these two just look nasty. Okay, for Apricot AF, we have Corralling Your Spirit Animal. Corralling Your Spirit Animal. This is very close. This is another one that's so close that I'm not really even sure exactly how to describe the differences. There are like subtle differences here. Corralling Your Spirit Animal might be like a little touch, tiny, itty bitty bit darker, but these are the same. This is Flex on the Beach, a much brighter, more neon orange, which is going to take some adjustment on camera because these are just all blowing the camera out. This is You've Got Nada on Me. This is a little bit more of like a neutrally peach color. This is, what is this? Got Myself Into a Jambalaya. This is brighter and more pink. This is Take a Hike on the Inca Trail. This is much more neutral. And this is Can't Stop Myself. This is an Infinite Shine shade. This is again a little bit more neutral, maybe a little bit more yellow. I feel like I don't need a black background for this one. This is Glitterally Shimmer. Ignore this. I did this backwards for some reason. This is Metamorphically Speaking. These are kind of close in concept, I guess. This has a much more green shimmer, and it has these larger, like, I don't even know, like little flaky, metallic flaky chunks to it, which are really cool looking. So they're kind of like along the same lines, but I wouldn't call them the same or duplicates of each other. And then here they are over black, so you can see where Glitterally Shimmer has a much more like orangey green gold kind of multi-chrome shift to it, and Metamorphically Speaking is very green. I only had one that I really found that I felt like I could compare to glitter. This is Mango for It. This is a much brighter orange. It has a gold shimmer, but they're really not comparable. This comes off as a orange crelly base with a gold shimmer added, where glitter is just like its own orange shimmer, if that makes sense. They're both orange with shimmer, but totally different animals. This is Spice Up Your Life. I don't know what I was thinking here. I don't know if I got some things mixed up or if I really just thought that these were good comparisons. I even like double checked these before I swatched them the second time, and somehow this still made sense to me until I actually started putting them on the wheel. So this first one is I Archaeologically Dig You. This is very orange, very peachy. Not super comparable there. This is A Great Opportunity. This is actually really close to I Archaeologically Dig You. So again, it's like almost pinky peachy. Nothing super close there. This is again along those same lines. This is Barking Up the Wrong Sequoia. And then this one is Tickle My Francie. So definitely nothing close there. I will swing another wheel into this in a second because I think I have some that I swatched for Material Gworl that make a little bit more sense. So Material Girl, for this one I have a couple of rounds of this because I didn't want to overcrowd the screen. This is Ginger Bells. This is lighter, more red, and has a cat hair on it. So not super close. It's close. I shouldn't say that. It is close. It's just more red, a little bit lighter. This is Espresso Your Inner Self. This is darker and almost a little bit cooler, if that makes sense. This one is also, this is not the closest, but it almost is. This is Endless Sunner. This is a little bit more burnt orange rather than like really warm brown, but they're pretty close. This is Cliffside Karaoke. Again, darker and a little bit cooler. And just for reference, this is Spice Up Your Life kind of amongst all of these. I feel like I could have made some comparisons with this as well. And again, Spice Up Your Life right there. For this second round, I have Freedom of Peach. Again, not really sure where my head was there. I have Your Panettone and Eat It Too. Again, not really sure what was going on. And then this one is really close, probably the closest, might be a toss-up between this and Endless Sunner. This is Inside the Isabel Way. They're very close. Inside the Isabel Way comes off a little bit dustier, but I mean, maybe a little bit, it's hard to tell if it's even a little bit lighter, maybe like a touch lighter. Material Girl maybe seems slightly warmer, but I mean, they're very close. I have two absolutely packed wheels here for Without a Pout. So the first one that I have is Hi Barbie. This is very close, almost hard for me to even really describe how they're different. I think Hi Barbie might just be the tiniest bit brighter, but they are really, really close. Maybe a little bit more of like a fuchsia versus a magenta with Hi Barbie. Maybe Without a Pout comes off a little bit more fuchsia, but still very close. This is Super Cute in Pink. This is a bit lighter, and this was a jelly, so it took a bit to build up to this shade. This one is No Turning Back from Pink Street. Again, super close, a little tiny bit darker, but just barely. This is Toying with Trouble. This is considerably darker. This is Strawberry Margarita, but it is the Infinite Shine Strawberry Margarita. There was a slight difference between the normal one and the Infinite Shine, so I have the normal one on the next wheel. This is much brighter and almost coming off a little bit slightly reddish. And then this is You're the Shade That I Want. Again, darker, not super comparable. This is Mad for Madness Sake. Again, a little bit more almost neon pink, much warmer of a pink. This is You Had Me at Merlot. Again, a little bit warmer, a little bit brighter, but not super different there. This is Kiss Me on My Tulips. Again, a little tiny bit brighter, but very close. This is Apartment for Two. This is darker. This is like considerably darker. This is GPS I Love You. Again, brighter, more neon, leaning a little bit more red. And then this is the Strawberry Margarita, the not Infinite Shine version, which again is a little bit brighter. And let me just, because I know you're probably curious. Here's the normal Strawberry Margarita, and here's the Infinite Shine one. So you can see the Infinite Shine one is a little bit more neon. I have two rounds here for Bleached Brows. So this first one is Let's Be Friends. This one comes off very light pink, and I'm not really sure what I was getting at there. This is Cat Hair Stuck In Permanent. Cool. This is Be There in a Prosecco. This is close. It's a little bit lighter. Doesn't quite have that slight like yellowy tone to it that Bleached Brows does, but it is close. This is Coastal Sanctuary. Again, lighter, almost a little bit peachier with this one. This is Pink in Bio. Again, it's pink. I don't know what I was getting at. For the next one, this is Staying Neutral on this one. This is an Infinite Shine shade. This is much peachier, pink and peachier. This is Climb Every Castle, also pink and peachier. And then this is My Vampire is Buff. This one is close, it's just a little bit lighter. So for Bubblegum Glaze, this is I'm a Natural. This is an Infinite Shine shade. This has a shimmer. It's a little bit darker. The shimmer in this one is kind of blue, like violet blue shimmer, so not comparable there. The color is pretty close though. This one is I Met My Soulmate. This is much more pink and much pearlier. This is A Hush of Blush. This one is a little bit more purple and less neutral and has a slightly pearlier shimmer to it, but not by much. And then this is Summer Crush Blush. This has a shimmer in the bottle, which is why I picked it, but it doesn't really come across on the nails at all and is a completely different color. Okay, for Basic Baddie, I have two rounds for this one as well. This first one is Coconuts Over OPI. This is darker, cooler, taupier. This is Do You Take Layaway? This is very close. This is also a little bit taupier, a little bit cooler, but it is like really close. This is Hurry Up and Wait. This is an Infinite Shine shade. This is peachier. I swatched these on the floor and the hair is just totally out of control. This is No Stopping Zone. Again, an Infinite Shine shade. This is a little bit warmer and a little bit darker. This is Don't Ever Stop, also an Infinite Shine shade. This is much peachier. And then this one is Put It in Neutral. This is much lighter and this is very sheer, so it took several coats to even get a color out of this one, so nothing close there. This is Samoan Sand. This is the Nail Envy version of Samoan Sand. I'm like 98% sure that I have the actual Samoan Sand somewhere, but I could not find it. I could only find this one and I looked for a while. This is lighter, again, not super close, and this is very sheer, so it took a while to build up to this. This is Double Nudie. This is also a Nail Envy shade. This is one of the newer ones that they just came out with. This is cooler, taupier. This is Grin and Bear It, also a little bit more taupe, maybe even starting to go a little bit purple with that one. This is Feeling Frisco. This is also close, just a little bit lighter. And then this is Tiramisu for Two, also close, just slightly more pink. So for first Class Tix, I have I'm Yacht Leaving, which actually looks interesting under these lights. It didn't look like this last night when I was swatching this just over like a normal overhead room light, and it's not really picking up like this on camera either, but this looks very like green to me in person right now. It does look a little bit more blue on camera, but either way, it's much lighter, brighter. This is Suzy-san Climbs Fuji-san. This is darker, clearly. This is My Dog Sled is a hybrid. This one also comes off a little bit more green. This is Can't Find My Checkbook, also a little bit darker and a little bit more blue. It's funny how these almost have like kind of a green tone next to this one. And then this is I'm on a Sushi Roll, again, much darker. I'm gonna bring this nasty black background out again for this one, and hopefully it helps, although I don't feel like it's as helpful with this. So for Pearlcore, this is Kyoto Pearl. Ignore this little pink here. That was a top coat mishap when I went right from pink to this one. So this is a much more like true pearl. It's got the brush strokes. It's just a little bit lighter and whiter. Pearlcore has that kind of like greeny, red, shifty shimmer to it, and that does play a huge factor in like the overall color that you get at the end after 3 coats, especially over a lighter, whiter base. This is Girls Love Pearls. This is an Infinite Shine shade. This is really similar to Kyoto Pearl. It's a little bit brighter and maybe a little bit whiter, where Kyoto Pearl kind of has like a little more, maybe even more like a true pearl tone to it. Still has the strong brush strokes, so not super close there. This is Snow Glad I Met You. This one has a very like yellowy tone to it in comparison. And then this one is Snow Day in LA. This is a kind of really like light kind of glowy white. The shimmer that's in there makes it more look like a glow and less like a really distinct shimmer. And this is a very opaque shade. This is not something that you could like layer over anything. It has a much creamier base to it. And here they are not over the black, which I actually feel like works a little bit better actually. So this is Get in Lime. The first one here is Paradise Cove. This is a little bit darker. They're very close. This is How Does Your Zen Garden Grow? This is more of like a pastel kind of green, less of this limey green. This is The Past is Always Greener, which again is that kind of like pastel grass green shade, much lighter. This is Life Gave Me Lemons, which comes off much more yellow in comparison to this one. And then this is Gargantuan Green Grape. I know there are several versions of this. I don't know exactly which one I have. I know it's got like the green lettering on the label, but that's as much information as I can give you. That is again more along the lines of that lighter grassy kind of pastel green. And then this one is 24 Carats. This is going to take a little bit of adjustment also, I can tell. This is Crawfishin' for a Compliment. This comes off a little bit more pink, a little bit more coral, I guess, versus 24 Carats being more true orange in comparison. That's another encapsulated cat hair. This is Where Did Susie's Man Go? This is also a brighter orange. This is Sunrise to Sunset. This is an Infinite Shine shade. This is very, very close. Just a touch darker, but really, I mean, I would not be able to tell the difference between those two from one hand to the next. This is My Tie Crooked, which is again a little bit darker, but not super different. And this is Trading Paint, also a bit darker. Okay, for On Another Level, this one is Two Timing the Zones. This comes off a little bit darker and less neon. This is Live Love Carnival, very red, still neon, but much more red rather than pink. This is Time for a Napa. Again, has that like really bright quality to it, but it's a little bit more on the coral side than pink. And then this one is Kiss Me, I'm Brazilian. These are very close. Kiss Me, I'm Brazilian is just a little tiny bit lighter. This one I also feel is going to translate a little bit better over the white than the black because my camera's not adjusting super well to the black. So this is Glitter Mogul. This is Snow Holding Back. This is very similar. The shimmer in this one is a little bit more gold and it's a little smoother. It's not quite as broken up, but they are like kind of close on their own. This is 3 coats on their own. And this is Kitty White. This is smoother and doesn't have that same kind of contrasting shimmer to it. And here they are over black. You can see that Snow Holding Back has much more gold, Glitter Mogul is more green, and then Kitty White has that like kind of cool blue silvery tone to it. Okay, so nothing's like particularly special here, but I really like Self-Made. I like this kind of sagey green, sagey springtime green. I like this. I actually kind of dig Glazed and Amused also. I don't know why, because a year ago I would have absolutely hated any kind of like glazed pearlized topper, but I like this one. It didn't come off like too brush strokey. The shimmer was really nice. And I don't know, I think I'm just kind of starting to accept the glazed pearly polishes, especially like ones like this that are sheer and can be used as a topper. I don't know, they probably won't be a thing anymore now that I finally like them, because that's just kind of how it goes for me. I take so long to adapt to a new trend that it's not a trend by the time it grows on me. So anyway. That is the OPI 2024 OPI Your Way spring collection. I will link Beyond Polish down below where you guys can check those out. I also have a coupon/affiliate code with Beyond Polish, so I'll have that on the screen in the description box. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.